This is John for Global Women's Sports Radio. I'm on the beat tonight. I have a very special guest. I've got Big Mama. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm talking to Big Mama. I've got to be good, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So the main reason I'm calling you tonight is I want to talk to you about Epic Wrestling Entertainment presents Girl Fight. But before I get into that, could you give us a little bit of your road to the current day? How you got here?
Oh gosh, it is it's probably been a longer road than most of the girls in that locker room, to be honest. I just celebrated my 14-year anniversary in July in wrestling.
Congratulations.
It's been a crazy 14 years, let me tell you. So I started out training with the Northern Wrestling Federation in Cincinnati under Roger Ruffin. And I've been there ever since. I had my first match in 2008, so I actually had to wait 2 years for my first match. So definitely was chomping in the bit, was ready to go when I had my first match. um, and it has been for a long time. It was just me traveling with the women of the NWF, and then as of the last about 5 years, I've really put in the miles on the road, and I've really been branching out and getting around further, including with Girl Fight, which I'm so happy to be working with them now. And then also working with Rise Wrestling up in Chicago,
Yes.
including having to get to go out to LA. So it's been a crazy, crazy ride.
Well, what made you want to get into wrestling? And when did you decide you wanted to get into wrestling?
So when I was a little girl, I thought China was the coolest thing ever. I'm sure my mother loved to hear that.
I thought she was pretty
um,
cool.
so I tried to press slam my brother off of the top bunk bed, and we broke his arm.
Oh,
Sorry, and
a little
and
souvenir.
so wrestling was banned in my house. And then then every weekend we would go see my grandpa, and he would sneak and turn wrestling on for me. So it's all my grandpa's fault. That's what I like to tell him
Sure.
anyway.
Blame it.
Um,
Gotta blame someone.
and then at about in 2006, I was at college, and one of my friends from my high school job at the movie theater invited me to come to this fantasy camp for the Northern Wrestling Federation. And I had never seen independent wrestling before that. It had always just been, Monday Night Raw, WWE, any TNA, all of those big names. And came to the NWF. I watched a couple of their shows, and I ended up going every single weekend this summer while I was home. And then I did the fantasy camp at the end of the summer, and it was like a light bulb just went off. Like, I have to do this.
A-
Um,
And then once you started training, any regrets? Was there ever a point early on when you thought, man, maybe I shouldn't be doing this?
you know, it was kind of all cylinders on. I did hide it from my mom for like 4 months that I was training. Uh, so I was literally I went to college down in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. The city is literally not even on the map. The closest city is Hazard. Let me just put it that way.
Okay.
Um, and I was literally driving 4 hours home every weekend just to come to shows for the NWF, and
Wow.
not seeing my mom or telling her that I was in town. But once she found out that I was wrestling, she was great. She's super supportive. She was coming to shows every weekend to see me. So maybe that one regret of not telling her sooner. But as far as wrestling, no, yeah, no regrets at all. I maybe wish I could have gotten into it earlier, but I was 18 when I started. So legally, I couldn't have.
Right, right. So you said obviously you thought China was the coolest. Is there any other role models or icons, whatever, in wrestling that you really liked?
China, Lita, Awesome Kong were always my big female influences. As far as just general influences, I always loved Earthquake. Obviously, that's one of my main moves. So, um,
That was a
one of my
coming
favorites.
question.
So John Tenta, Earthquake, and then also Andre the Giant, just because a lot of the things that I've taken are from him as well.
Now, obviously, you haven't met Andre, but have you gotten to meet any of the others?
I had the privilege of working with Awesome Kong actually when I was about 6 years in the business. That is the only one I've gotten to meet, though. I tried desperately to meet Lita maybe about 5 years ago, and the show ended up getting canceled. So
Oh, well, Awesome Kong, isn't I mean, don't tell her I said this, but isn't she really one of the sweetest people around?
she is one of the nicest person I think I've literally ever met in pro wrestling, and it's really funny. Her job prior was working in social work, and,
Oh,
I have a similar background, and it's really funny because I'm like, man, if you told me to take that you were taking my children, I would just hand you my children. Sorry, like that's just how that works.
okay. So let's get to the topic at hand. Girl fight wrestling. You're fighting Nikki Victory.
I am,
Now,
and
you've tagged with her before, haven't you?
so Nikki
And
Victory is my tag team partner. We are Big Victory. Um, but I will tell you, I'm also her wrestling mom. Most people don't know that.
I didn't know that
um,
till now.
so she started with our company, and I kind of took her underneath my wing. And we have traveled a lot of roads together. I was her first match, first out of town booking, the whole 9 yards. And she is absolutely a force to be reckoned with in the ring. She's small but mighty. And the way that she has grown in the last just year has been, I mean, it's crazy. Her passion and her fire in the ring is absolutely incredible. But what I will say is that she has not had to deal with me often on the other side of the ring from her. And when she has, I've come out on top. So
Well, yeah, I was going to
what
say,
I
I
would
mean,
like to see is the new skills versus my skills now.
well, yeah, I was going to say, you're talking very nice about her, which is great. She's your tag team partner. But when that night comes around, you're not going to be real pleasant to her.
Oh, well, I mean, that just comes with the territory. Sometimes if you're best friends, sometimes you have to be brutally honest, even if that means I knock you in the face. It is what it is.
I respect that. So, why do you tell us why you like girl fight wrestling?
Girl fight wrestling for me represents, I mean, honestly, everything I love about wrestling. Especially in the last several years, women's wrestling has catapulted to the top of everybody's minds when it comes to wrestling. People are like, oh, is it a women's match? Like, that's part of the new thing, which I think is incredible because I fought for years for that to happen. So I love that that is being highlighted now. And they represent every shape, size, representation, everything they have. And that's not something that you often see on a lot of shows. You go to a show, even when it's an all female show, um, you come across, okay, well, it's all these tiny little girls, and there's no representation from a bigger girl. There's no representation from a person of color. So they cover the whole gamut. And the proof is in the pudding. They're still strong and they're still running. Even amidst all the pandemic and everything crazy going on, they're ready to go.
Well, you can't stop Pondo.
No, you
I mean,
cannot stop Hondo.
I mean, you can't even try to stop. That guy's insane. And don't tell him either, but he's also one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But
He
I'll
is. Don't I
I'll,
won't
den-
say I won't
I'll
tell
deny
anything.
saying that too. You got to convince Pondo to bring Girl Fight Wrestling up to Chicago. I was telling Small and
Small
Mean
and mean
Selena
Selena
Dean.
Dean.
Yeah,
That's another good one too.
don't tell her I forgot her name. She'll kill me.
No,
But
she
yeah,
really might. Like I'm not even kidding. I've been in a car with her. That really might happen.
I know. And I was telling her Pondo's got to bring up Girl Fight Wrestling in Chicago because we would love to see you guys up here.
That's a road trip I am more than happy to make.
Well, speaking of road trips, before I end this, I read that you love to travel.
I do. It
So
is.
where have you been that you loved? Where do you want to go?
So are we talking wrestling or
No,
everything?
in your other life outside of
So
or
I
wrestling if you want. I'm not going to
actually
argue with you.
my one of my wrestling goals I will say is to wrestle in every single state in the United States. So I'm about 20 in, so I'm doing good, but
Cool.
I still have a good number that I got to chunk off. So If you know any bookings, let me know. I will put the miles in. So small fact, when I was in high school, I actually went to Europe. I went Italy, France, Germany, and England
Nice.
in about a 6 week period. And for 2.5 weeks of that, we were biking across Germany.
Wow.
Hands down, one of the coolest things I've ever done. Got to see all of the big landmarks, and you name it, we probably saw it, and you name it, I probably drank it because that was legal to drink over there. So don't do it if you're not legal. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, now that is a good public service announcement for Big Mama.
Yeah, that
Listen,
was honestly one of my favorite things, and it's so funny because whenever we go on vacation, my family's always, "Oh, just get on the plane and fly to." No, we get in the car. Half the trip seeing everything on the road and the process of getting there. So it's my favorite thing.
no, hey, I agree with you. I love taking a nice road trip. So before I let you go, this is your time now to say whatever you want to your opponent, to say whatever you want to your fans, to promote whatever you want. Where can they find you? All that. It's your show. I'll shut up.
Well, I have to say first and foremost to Nikki Victory, you better be ready. This is my first looking back since having my little boy, and I'm ready to throw the hell down. And I honestly I feel sorry for her because I'm going to be throwing a whole lot harder than what I used to. So she better be ready. As far as where you can find me on Facebook at Fans of Big Mama. I am on Instagram, Twitter, both at Big Bad Mama 06. And then lastly, please go buy my brand new Ride or Die shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Just look up Big Bad Mama. It's right on there, and it's a really fancy shirt. Lufisto designed it for me. So
Really?
she
Nice.
did. And yeah, if anybody needs any design work, please check out Lufisto on Facebook. It's Jangule Designs. They are incredible. She's coming out with such good work. And you'll actually get a sneak peek at Girl Fight Jawbreaker. You will get to see brand new gear as designed by Lufisto for Big Mama. So,
Wow. Well, that's
I'm
reason
ready
enough
to
to come
go.
out. Well, it's September 26th. It's Girl Fight Wrestling. It's in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I'll be
I'm
watching
looking
for
forward
it.
to the new venue.
Oh, is it? I've yet to go to a girl fight. I've heard all about it. I've heard from Pondo. I've heard from the other wrestlers, and unfortunately, I won't make this one. But I am going to make a girl fight because the enthusiasm that all of you are showing is just drawing me in.
So it's honestly out of all the shows that I've worked in the last 2 years, which has been a lot. Um, it's been one of my favorite locker rooms and my favorite place to be. So you have to make it out to one.
I will, and I encourage all the fans to come out. Until then, everyone should just check you out on social media. And I appreciate your time and good luck. Good luck against Nikki.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Big Mama.